Here is my presentation about biometry, and I must say in Croatian "Dobra večer," it's good evening. So here are my students measuring the pixel. We use the pixel 30 per 30. We didn't enlarge it because we were lazy, so we took only the 30 per 30 pixel. Here is then we chose to measure in paces. Before we went to the woods, we were practicing pacing. So we took 20 meters, and the students paced, and they were covering how many paces they needed to pass 20 meters, so it was easier later when we went to the woods. And here are my students putting tapes, and then they went in diagonals. Brian explained very well. He put that diagram, and they go in the. They took the densiometer and they walked in half diagonals for 21.2 meters step by step, and then one way they looked down and put pluses and minuses if they saw something green or brown, and then they went the other way, they come back and they look up and did the same thing. Then one student is looking at the densiometer and the other is writing down what they saw. And then this one is looking, the left one is looking down and the right one student is looking up. And this is where you can find this in the field guide for teachers. Then you can do it. It's not very. It's easy to make. Then this is the summary that our students made. They counted the total measurements, observations, and then they had to how can I say to find out the percent of each one of the observations. And this is one of my students measuring the tree height. They were all having so much fun that they really wanted to measure the whole wood. They were measuring each tree, what was its distance from the center, and they wanted to measure every tree in the wood. So they also measured the tree circumference, and with a compass they measure where each tree was situated. And they made this map of the wood, and every tree is here what we measured in our pixel. And the green one is the green trees are the trees that are dominant, and the red one are codominant trees. And here is what can we do with the data. We were finding out if there are some woods with the same how do I spell, MUC, and the latitude, and using globe data that schools reported, they can study the similarities or differences in temperature, precipitation, moisture, season, and then see if the woods are the same. Then it's important for the deforestation. If on the same latitudes you can find the same woods, or there are no woods anymore, or what happens, and you can ask your students why it's important to know about deforestation, why do we need the woods. The students that are older will know more, the younger students will know what they use the woods for, and all these exercises are for the older students, but younger students can also go to the woods and they only need a little help because they perhaps do not know how to measure and how to find the tree height, and perhaps the calculations are not for them, but teacher can help them, and they can also talk about the importance of the wood. My group of students also determined how old was the wood, because we were studying the climate with the three rings. The three rings indicated the weather in our country. Our wood is about 100 years old, and so we studied how to determine how old is the wood. We took the samples. It wasn't easy, but we did it. We put the samples in it's a plastic bag, and the pines recovered. After that, we went to control, and here is how our students what we did with the samples. We looked at the brown and lighter brown rings, and with the rings we determined how were the summers or how were the winters. If the rings were white, then the summers were very hot, and with a lot of rain. But if they're narrow, they were cold and with no rain. So that's how we determined how was the climate in the last 100 years in our wood. And that's all. And if you have some questions, and I may say that my students have fun every time we go out. They always want to do more because they like to be out, and they like to work outside. They do not like to study in the classes, but they prefer to study outside. Then we talk, and we can find out more about our students and help them more, and they are more interested to study when they talk to us. Then they see that we can converse with them.